Welcome back to my Vision News. Some news stories for you. Firstly, since yesterday, incorrect reporting is being done about fighting in one region of Ethiopia, where a peace agreement was signed a few weeks ago. Several Ethiopian news sources are claiming that fighting has resumed in this region. I had to contact the armed group which signed the peace agreement there, and I got all the details of fighting happening there. Secondly, viewers, government says, Ethiopian government, that rehabilitation of Tigray fighters has begun. It has shared details. How much money does government need for rehabilitation, reintegration of Tigray fighters and other fighters who have signed peace agreements recently? Thirdly, viewers, Eritreans celebrated their Independence Day in Addis Ababa, Ethiopian capital, last night. At Millennium Hall, a ceremony was held. Can we say that Ethiopia-Eritrea relations are very friendly? That is why freely Eritreans were allowed to celebrate their Independence Day in the heart of the capital of Ethiopia. Firstly, viewers, since yesterday, I have been seeing posts, pictures by several news sources, mostly Amhara news sources, claiming that in Gambella region of Ethiopia, several civilians have been killed in attacks by fighters of Gambella Liberation Front, GLF. I won't share the names of the news sources, but several top Ethiopian news sources have been reporting that since yesterday. I have been in touch with Gambella Liberation Front commanders, as I stay in touch with all armed group commanders, because that is how I get information. People from OLA, people from Tigray, they stayed in touch with me. So I tried to confirm what happened in Gambella, because we know that Gambella Liberation Front, GLF, led by Gatluak Boam Paul, signed an agreement, a peace deal with the government a few weeks ago. Talks were held in South Sudan, then talks were held in Addis Ababa. Gatluak Boam Paul visited Addis Ababa, agreement was signed, he returned to Gambella. Then he was seen with Gambella regional government officials, and later I reported that some fighters of Gambella Liberation Front, they were complaining that government wasn't providing uniform and shoes to them, as they are receiving military training now, training to be part of security forces in the region. Now, GLF has denied being involved in this fighting. GLF's leader, one commander, says that in farming season, clashes erupt between two tribes in Gambella. The clashes erupt every year in Italy special Woreda. There are two Kabyles in this Woreda, inhabited by two different tribes, two different ethnic groups. Puldang Kabyle, inhabited by Niors, and Paniwa Kabyle, inhabited by Aniwa. These two tribes are involved in dispute over land. So whenever farming season starts, the two tribes start clashes. It happened in the past as well. That is what happened in Gambella yesterday. There is no involvement of GLF. GLF has been dismantled. Its fighters are undertaking military training. They are undertaking training at a center So there is no GLF there. And that is what locals confirmed as well. So I don't know from where these Ethiopian news sources are reporting about resumption of fighting between Gambella Liberation Front and security forces. Another incident in Gambella is about infiltration into Gambella from South Sudan. We know that Murle tribe from South Sudan, Murle tribe fighters, they enter Gambella and they carry out attacks. Murle tribe fighters entered Gambella and they carried out an attack reportedly in Nuyor zone of the Gambella region, and 8 casualties are being reported by Gambella regional government, 13 injured. Separate incident. One incident is about infiltration of fighters from Murle tribe from South Sudan into Gambella. Other incident is about internal fighting between 2 tribes in Gambella. There is no involvement of GLF in these 2 incidents of clashes. I think correction should be made because peace deal has been signed in Gambella. Incorrect reporting can affect the peace agreement signed there. Secondly, viewers, Tigray, where Tigray and other regions where fighters have laid down their arms. Now rehabilitation work is starting. Ethiopian government shared details yesterday about how much money it needs for rehabilitation of armed fighters who are laying down their arms. 2 days ago, we watched briefing by African Union monitoring and verification mechanism, and General Radina said back then, if you remember 2 days ago, that he said that disarmament was around 85% complete and demobilization was starting, and then reintegration as well. Government claims that rehabilitation of Tigray fighters has begun in Tigray, and for that it needs 29.7 billion Ethiopian birrs. For rehabilitation of Tigray fighters, for rehabilitation of OLA fighters, if OLA made peace with the government, and for rehabilitation of other fighters in different regions like in Gambella, in BG, in Amhara, etc. Government is not in a position to fund this rehabilitation program. That is why yesterday government shared details asking the international community to contribute to the implementation of peace deals in regions. And that is what Getachew said, if you remember. Getachew 2 days ago at African Union briefing said that the reintegration phase was being delayed because of lack of financial resources. So government needs money, but we know that in Sidama, in southern region, federal government had to give additional assistance, financial assistance to regional governments because regional governments were unable to pay salaries. They were so handicapped financially, regional government, they had to seek the support of federal government for paying salaries to their employees. That just shows the gravity of economic crisis in some regions and at federal level as well. How will the government implement this rehabilitation phase? Let's see. And which countries will support the implementation of peace deal signed? Of course, the countries which are going to support will have influence in Ethiopia. They'll have influence in Tigray too. They would like something in return. Mining could start in Tigray soon, by the way, viewers. So countries supporting the implementation of peace deals might be planning something as well. They would like to have something in return. So it needs to be monitored. Who is going to fund the implementation of Pretoria deal? What are those countries' intentions? Lastly, viewers, Eritreans are celebrating Independence Day. 24th of May is their Independence Day. We are seeing festivals, we are seeing ceremonies being organized by Eritreans across the world. Celebrations start early. And last night there was a celebration in Addis Ababa, Ethiopian capital, at Millennium Hall of Addis Ababa. Hundreds of Eritreans gathered, song, dance, and they chanted slogans for their country. People say, Sajid, both Eritrea and Ethiopia, their governments are on good terms. So your report that there are differences is incorrect. That is why Eritreans are celebrating independence in the heart of Ethiopia. Well, I do not say, I never said that relations between Isaias and Abiy were strained or seriously strained. I always said there are differences, disagreements. If not handled properly, could turn into open confrontation. Priorities are different, by the way. Isaias Afwerki visited China a few days ago. Before that, PM Abiy welcomed Antony Blinken in Addis Ababa. Westerners are visiting Ethiopia these days. You are seeing that foreign ministers from EU countries, they are visiting Ethiopia, while Sergei Lavrov was in Eritrea. So, priorities of both countries are different. And have they learned that having different priorities does not mean that they should fight? It depends upon if they have learned from their past or not. Eritrean government is not happy with increased Western US interference in Ethiopia. So there are issues. Let's hope these issues remain just difference of opinion, because all countries are independent. They are free to pursue independent foreign policy. These different views on foreign policy should not turn into confrontation. That is what we hope. Watch the video from Addis Ababa showing Eritreans celebrating independence there last night. Thank you for watching.